Bolin reminds me of. There's no time for an intro today, but Are you just gonna get hammered? Get me a toaster. Magic Angel Robot from Winnipeg.
What the hell are you talking about?
This team is ruining my life. That was fun. Happy Canada Day. July 1st, otherwise known as the kickoff of NHL free agency, was eventful. I'll start with the Leafs move to the other Canadian teams and the biggest moves. The biggest Leaf move of the day might have been not re-signing Dave Bolin, because instead he went to Florida for $5.5 million per year. And what's great about this is someone tweeted at me today the video I did the day Dave Bolin was traded to the Leafs. I'll link to it below. I was happy. I was happy for a lot of the reasons that I now say annoy me. Oh, he's gritty, he drives the other team nuts. Look, a guy like Dave Bolin, even if he doesn't produce that much, as long as he doesn't get into crazy penalty trouble, I dig on my team. Gritty guy, depth guy, has some experience, there's value in those things. But to have the kind of production Dave Bolin has, and to be coming off the injury that he's coming off of, $5.5 million? You're on drugs. Even when they were talking something like 4, I'm like, no! I don't get how Dave Bolin thinks he's worth that much, and I don't get how other teams think he's worth more than that. So Leaf fans who liked him, don't worry, shed a tear. There's other options out there. In the meantime, they got Stefan Robida, 3x3. Decent player, reasonable money. I don't see much of an issue with it other than he's 37 years old. Shouldn't be a problem if he's okay from the leg breaks. I wouldn't call him injury prone. That's wrong. A guy's got a back that acts up, a groin that acts up, some knees that are busted. That's one thing. This wasn't a little back twinge. This was a 200-something pound athlete in full equipment falling on his leg. He brings experience and a right-handed shot to the Leafs. I think they wanted both those things, so it's a nice little deal. Jerry D'Amigo and a conditional 7th for Matt Fratton. That's a strange deal. I was under the impression the Leafs were going to keep Jerry D'Amigo because they have nobody to kill penalties anymore because they got rid of McClement, Kuhlman, Raymond, everybody. But I do like me some Matt Fratton. But now this is awkward because Leaf fans for the last year have been like, oh, he gave up nothing to get Bernier. Fratton's just standing there like it's pronounced Matt. Hey Matt, how was LA? Columbus. And last but not least, Leo Komarov. Well, it looks like this Finn wasn't finished. Yeah! The Estonian-born, Swedish-schooled Finnish national from Russia is back in North America. Shocked me with the deal. 4 years, $2.95 million. I had no idea that the Leafs were willing to shell out that kind of cash. And it wasn't just the cash. Apparently Dave Nonis went all the way to Europe to actually talk with Komarov. Got a lot of people going, oh God, why would they spend that kind of money on a fourth liner? Well, because they don't plan on using him like a fourth liner. Now, Komarov has had some big performances at the Olympics. He played with Ovechkin and Backstrom during the lockout, but I don't think there's any illusion that he's going to play on the Leafs' top 2 lines. But he should be playing way more than he did during the lockout shortened season. He's not going to have Colton Orr as a line mate, and he's going to dominate the penalty kill. Like I said, the Leafs got rid of Kuhlman, McClement's not coming back, Raymond is not coming back. Unless you want Bozak and JVR killing every single penalty, you're going to need a guy. Plus, he's just such a douche. He drives everyone nuts. Remember when Grabowski bit Pacioretty? He started that whole scrum. He didn't even do anything. Brandon Prost just hated his face. Penalty minutes on that play, 0. So he's got to earn that paycheck, but Trololo Leo is back. Other Canadian teams, Vancouver Canucks, really only one move, Ryan Miller. $6 million per is a lot of money, but I doubt Miller would play for less than that, and 3 years is not bad term. We talk about the Canucks being on the downfall. I don't think they're ready to suck just yet. I wouldn't be totally shocked to see them make the playoffs. But a little thing I learned from the coverage of Miller out east, if the Vancouver media thought Luongo was moody, oh baby. And now for Edmonton. Oh, you mean Ed Money. Big contract for Nikita Nikitin, big contract for Mark Fane, and big contract for Benoit Pouliot. Pouliot's a pretty underrated player in this league, but the Oilers right now are a good example, and I'll show you a better example later in this video, of a team who added in free agency. They're probably a better team for it, but they're not necessarily better. Craig McTavish said something about, oh, we have an NHL defense now. And I'm like, bro, you added Nikita Nikitin and Mark Fane. That's a good start. Are you done? No. Well, who you got? Keith Ollie? Oh boy. Hey, I won't rag on the Oilers as much as other people do for the money that they shell out for free agents. It's minus $1 billion, and the cost of living is kind of high. And their hockey team's quite bad. And they needed to add a guy like Pouliot. They needed to add some defensemen. They added 3 decent names, but I don't know if you can go, hey, we're better now. There's some work to do in Ed Money yet. The Calgary Flames, oh, you guys were so close. 3 years, $9.5 million for Mason Raymond. I'm like, oh, what a great story. Guy breaks his back in the Stanley Cup final a few years ago, career-threatening injury, comes back, gets booed out of town in Vancouver, comes to Toronto on a tryout, does great, he's 5th on the team in scoring, goes to free agency and gets a nice fat contract. Enjoy him, Calgary. I loved May Ray in Toronto. He'll be fine. Then they get Jonas Hiller. It's more of a strange contract for Hiller to take than anything. I like it. Calgary wanted to improve in goaltending, and they did. Hey, Calgary's not doing so. They signed Engelland to how much? Derek Engelland is going to make $2.9 million for the next 3 years. So for everyone who didn't like the Leo Komarov contract, keep in mind that the Calgary Flames are going to be paying Derek Engelland almost the exact same amount for the next 3 years. That's another example of a guy where I'm like, sure, I'll take Derek Engelland on my team. How much? $8.7 million. You're on meth, call the police. Winnipeg's biggest move was not Tanner Glass. Oh, we'll get to him. I would not give Chris Thorburn the kind of money that they gave him, but Mathieu Perreault, that's a decent deal. The Montreal Canadiens, geez, those fans should be happy. You got something for Josh Georges, and you didn't really make a mistake. Manny Malhotra, whether you think he can be a regular in the lineup or not, the cap hit, who cares? Mike Weaver and Tom Gilbert, those are just two decent signings on the back end. Not amazing, but decent. And Joey McDonald, congrats, you have a third goalie. And Ottawa did pretty decent with Milan Mahalik. Kinda got murdered on the Jason Spezza deal. But they didn't get murdered as much as they didn't get anything. Which isn't fair to the people that they got. They could have got more. But Spezza really tied their hands in the situation. And this is a pretty good transition to who some of the winners and losers were, because wow, Dallas. Lindback and Eves, they added Ales Hemsky to go with Jason Spezza. Add to an offensive core that already has Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn. And a rising star in Valerie Nichushkin. I think he's going to be dirty. Watch out for those Dallas Stars. Arguably the winner of the day, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Anton Stralman, one of the hottest defensive names on the open market. 5 years, $4.5 million. That's not a disastrous cap hit. You better hope he's worth it, but also keep in mind, right-handed defensemen come at a premium. It's hilarious that back in the day, the Leafs basically gave him away for Wayne Primo, and now he's one of the big ticket guys. And Brian Boyle, $2 million for 3 years. A criticism of Boyle's a while ago was that he wasn't a good enough skater. Well, someone who really helped him improve his skating was Leafs skating consultant Barb Underhill. And I imagine she'll still work with him in the offseason, and he can join his Tampa buddies, because in the past, I've been at the Leafs practice facility and seen Barb working with Tampa Bay guys. The one question mark is Ben Bishop is now being backed up by Evgeny Nabokov. You could still argue that's an improvement on Lindback. And the market is so flooded with goaltenders that if Nabokov turns out to completely suck, they can replace him. The New York Rangers made a couple okay moves, Dan Boyle, Mike Koska. They retained Dominic Moore. But maybe one of the worst contracts of the day, I'm going to go with at least top 5, probably top 3. Tanner Glass is going to make $1.45 million for the next 3 years. And you might say, Steve, it's just $1.45 million. How could it be that bad? Well, forgive me while I put my fancy stat hat on, but you could argue that Tanner Glass was the worst regular NHLer in the league last season. His relative Corsi was dead last in the league for players who played a certain amount of games. I get trying to fill roles, but that's just not a guy who makes your team better. The St. Louis Blues make one move, and it was the move. Paul Stastny. One criticism I heard of the deal is, well, Stastny's really gonna miss his wingers in Colorado. Do you know who's on the St. Louis Blues? Because I don't think you do. Don't want to make this video too long, so we'll just go with a few other teams. Surprised I'm saying this, but round of applause to the Buffalo Sabres. I think they did great. Not that I think the deals they signed were great, or they weren't bad either, but right after they bought out Christian Ehrhoff, I'm looking at their roster and going, why would anyone buy a ticket to watch the Buffalo Sabres next year? And now, at very least, they won't be laughably bad. Oh, they'll be bad. But Mazzaros, Gianta, keeping Molson is nice. They add Georges. They got some veterans who can show the young guys what's what in the NHL. Not necessarily be a better hockey team, but still. The Pittsburgh Penguins didn't do anything too crazy. I thought Marcel Gottsch was a great trade deadline pickup, and they keep him. Christian Ehrhoff, nice short deal. I wonder if they extend him mid-season if it goes well. And then the team who stole everyone from the Penguins, the Washington Capitals. What are you doing? This is just another example. Free agency will do this to you. It's another example of, yeah, you added some players, and yeah, you're probably better today than you were yesterday. But what are you doing? Brooks Orpik's not worth $5.5 million, and he's definitely not worth it for 5 years. I don't think Matt Niskanen is worth $5.75 million, and he's definitely not worth it for 7 years. They wrapped up $11 million in those two. And the Caps could probably use some tinkering, but they're right up against the cap. Maybe that's why they need tinkering. And obviously, this is just the first video on the matter, because there's lots of teams right up against the cap, lots of teams that need to reach the cap floor, and it's only the first day of free agency. It's not even the end of the first day. There might be something huge that happens, but as I'm uploading this video, making it irrelevant. Mikhail Grabowski and Nikolai Kulemin both signed with the Leafs, and then somehow they trade them both and Leo Komarov for Dave Bolin. Maybe the Flyers trade for Patrick Sharp and they get Kovalchuk to come back from Russia, and they go, what about the salary cap? And Ron Hextall goes, what salary cap? Maybe Jerome McGinley storms into the room and goes, Steve, what the hell? You didn't even mention me in your stupid video. And I go, oh, sorry, by the way, Jerome McGinley was signed to the Colorado Avalanche. So that's it for this one. I'm going to cut myself off, otherwise this video will be 20 minutes long. If you like this video, click like. If you really liked it, click subscribe. Tell all your friends. Have a happy Canada Day, and I will see you next time.